Madam Roy back once again. Well, today I thought we'd go ahead and do some dehydrating. Next to my good friend Chris Galosi, who is running the camera today. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, guys.
He graciously donated his old dehydrator to me because from his big adventure, I expressed an interest in giving this a try. So what I've done here is I have cut some celery. This is celery that was in our refrigerator and was starting to go bad. And what I'm going to do is start loading up the dehydrator. Today we're going to do celery, onions, and then some carrots. And what I'm going to do is make that into a powder just like Chris did in his video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start loading up the dehydrator. And just remember, you got to cut these pieces fairly small, just like this, because it'll be quicker drying. And remember, it can't be too tall because you're stacking these up one on top of the other. Alright, and now we're moving on to the onions. Same rule with the onions, you want them to be fairly thin. Just remember, the thinner it is, the quicker they're actually going to dehydrate. I think a good rule of thumb is the way you would have them on a burger. Alright, as you can see, I have the onions evenly spread on top. If I put this in front, you can see I have another tray of onions. And then towards the bottom we have the 2 trays of the celery. Now, unfortunately I did not have room to put any carrots in, so we'll have to save those for next time. But all you have to do is put the lid on here. And then if you look on the front, this particular dehydrator is an Oster, and it doesn't have the temperature control, so all you do is you click it to the on position. Now, as you can see, I'm outside right now, so I'm not actually going to start it right now, but later on, probably in a couple hours, I'll bring it inside. We'll go ahead and start dehydrating, and it probably should take anywhere between 1 to 2 days. And once everything's completed, I'll bring you guys back in. Alright, now we've had the dehydrator moved inside. I plugged it in. It's been running for about 3 hours now. What I need to do is go ahead and rotate the racks. And all you do for that, and it's going to be hard doing this one-handed, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera for a minute. Okay, so basically I just moved these by hand. A few more hours later, and you can see everything's going really well. Got the onions on top, and they're dry, but they're nowhere near ready yet. And if I pick up the 2, you can see the celery is much, much more done. You can tell those pieces are getting really, really nice. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and rotate these. Put the onions towards the bottom and the celery on the top. Just going to do this really carefully. As you can see, some of the celeries fell down, but that's okay. We'll get that towards the end. And time to pick the celery up, which I'm sure some has fallen. Not too bad. And last but not least, we're just going to put the top on. So again, that's going to go for at least another 12 to 24 hours, and we'll pick this up tomorrow. Alright, it's the very next day, and as you can see, the celery is more than done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the celery off. That's the top 2 trays, and I'm just going to very carefully put it down here for now. But as you can see, the onions still need a little more time. We have a few here like this one that are hard, but a couple of the bigger chunks are still a little pliable and have moisture, and we don't want that. So it's probably going to be another, I'd say another 5 or 6 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid back on. And once the onions are completed, I'll show you what we're going to do with everything. Alright, it's been a couple more hours, and the onions are done. They're a beautiful golden color, and they are brittle. So what we're going to do, shut this off. Now I'm going to show you how I prepare these. Alright, now we're ready to prepare these dehydrated, delicious vegetables for use. Now, I've already did some of these about a week ago. You see in this container, I have some ground up carrots. I also have some ground up onions and celery in there. So I'm just going to be adding this batch to this. Now, what you're going to need to do this is some type of grinder. I find that just a coffee grinder works best. You can use a food processor, but they tend to be a little slower. Of course, your dehydrator, and then just a bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 celery trays that I did the other day. I'm going to very carefully try to just pour them into this bowl. And as you can see, that is the celery, the dried celery. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here with the onions. Now, some of your product might have fallen into the machine itself. So one thing I really like about this dehydrator, it's designed to where if there's a bunch of things that actually fall through, all you have to do is tip it to the side, and they go right into the bowl. Now, it should go without being said that you want to sanitize and clean this before you actually use it each time. And I did that the last time as well. Just some Windex or even just some antibacterial dish soap works fine to clean that one. All right. Now here you can see our complete concentrate. And again, this is celery and onions this time. Now what I'm going to do to make it a little bit easier on the chopper is I'm going to go ahead and try to break some of this up by hand. Just, you know, it doesn't have to be too fine, but you want to make sure it's easy enough on your machines. A minute or so of doing this will make it a lot easier when it comes to actually trying to get some of those onions. And just like that. Now, what we're going to do is go ahead and actually chop these. I'll move you over a little bit more so you can see. This is my Molina coffee grinder. I picked this up at a garage sale a couple years ago for $1. It's probably ground 100 pounds of coffee by now. Still works good, and this is the best thing to use to chop dehydrated vegetables because this is much stronger than most food processors. Now I'm referring, of course, to the mini food processors. If you're lucky enough to have a full-size food processor, I would recommend using that. Just going to go ahead and put a good amount in there. You don't want to fill it up too high. About like that is good. And we'll just start chopping. And there you have it. You want it to be just a fine powder. Something that will go ahead and mix well in any kind of soups or stews you might do. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of this, and then I'll show you guys the end product. Now we're on our last bit here. This one should be fairly easy. Alright. Now the last thing we want to do to incorporate it with the old mixture I had in there, we want to put the lid on tight and just kind of give her a good shake. And there you have it, guys. This is the dehydrated vegetable powder. This has, again, celery, carrots, onions, and I believe there's also some radishes in there too from the old batch. This is great in soups and stews, pretty much anything you need to season up. This is concentrated vegetable flavor, and this is so easy to do. Time-wise, it takes a total of about a day to 1 to 2 days, but you can see prep time is very short. Please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, have a blessed day, everybody.
Non più tra I farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto a dolcino d'amor, delle belle turbando al riposo.